Okay, so these readings, as I call them, is I call it cosmology reading. It's very similar to astrology, and it's based from what you give me your birth date. Then the mathematics create a window of time of your conception. So your astrology or cosmology sproutes from your conception, not from your birth date. So it's a system that combines astronomy and astrology from the Mayan people, the Tibetan people, and the people from the Hopi tribes in the Second Mesa in Arizona. And it's a way to see time in three ways: past, present, and future. And it's an invitation to see the past, present, and future in a single time, in what we call the eternal present. So this astrological science or cosmology science that we derive from your conception are to be honored or to be recognized or utilized at any given moment in your eternal present. These animals and forces of nature that represent your cosmology, they all have virtues and they all have meanings, and I always suggest that if some of this astrological, cosmological science makes sense to you, then it will be a good idea to do some research on what they actually mean to you, not just the meaning of my interpretation, but what resonates with you.
Okay, I have a question. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
before you continue. So I was born a month early. Does
Mm-hmm.
that impact the reading?
Not at all. No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, this actually gives a window of time of give or take 44 days, which is more than
Yeah.
even if you were born at usually 38 weeks when the babies are born prematurely. They're still within the scope of give or take.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's a good question. Within the readings, the three timelines, when we speak about the past, we speak from that window of time of conception all the way to eternity. When we speak about the present, is from birthday to birthday, so happy birthday. It's been recently.
Yes, thank you.
From April to April, this present is highly emphasized. Is some of the virtues within the identities of the astrological signs. And then the future, we consider the future started for the entire universe on December 22nd of 2012. In your case, you came into this new world, this new universe on April 12th of 2013. So since then, these 15 different identities come together revolving your past, present, and future at the same time. And the whole idea of this is for people to open the mind, the spirit, and the heart to the possibility of going to the past and projecting your mind, your spirit, and your thoughts into the past, and also doing the same for the future. And as we practice that, then we understand that we are creating our own future when we take a decision in the present. And the more we practice consciously, the better we get, obviously, with practice to creating a better future, not just for ourselves, but for humanity. So I'm gonna tell you the cosmic identities, and I wanna tell you what they mean to me. And at any time you can stop me and ask me questions. But looking at the past, you have what we call the shining path. You have a lizard You have transformation. You have what we call master adapter. And you have what we call black obsidian. Then you have the fire. You have the sacred thought or sacred prayer. You have owl. You have eagle, crocodile. You have what we call the dog, the monkey, sacred authority, and we have unity. So you represent unity. And through this mathematics, every step you take, everything you do in this lifetime since 2012, you're doing it for unity. So all of these animals in forces of nature have different virtues, different abilities. And within the interpretation of the Sixth calendar, this reading, then we understand that you have what we call the shining path twice. So when you walk the shining path, the main attribute to that person is you were born, you are here to learn and teach happiness. So in a more practical day, what that means to people is as long as you smile, you're always gonna be able to provide unity for the people. As long as you smile, you're always gonna receive what you request from the universe with your thoughts, because you carry what we call the sacred prayers or sacred thoughts, which is faster way to manifest things. With the combination of these animals and forces of nature, you have the option to create and co-create very easily by just thinking what you want. When you put this into the universe, it should be easy for you to manifest into the reality, the 3D reality when you're smiling. So throughout life, whatever you do, the number one ingredient to manifest will be your happiness. Learning and teaching happiness. Bringing that happiness and that smiles everywhere. You have what we call the bird tribes. You have the eagle and the owl. So that's a lot of vision. Visionaries have it easier than others to step into people's shoes, see things the way people see things, and in that way it makes you an excellent issue solver and not really problems in your path. When you have a vision of the owl, in the northern territories, like in North America, the tribes call the owl, they call it the eagle of the night. So just like the eagle, you can see perspective of high altitude or a very broad way of seeing solutions. But with the owl vision, that also means that you see the same way the eagles see, but in the darkness and in the night. Now, some of the practical attributes of the owls is they don't really need to sleep for too long. And like the owls, they like staying up at night, and some of the best work, the best ideas come through the night, come through the darkness. Owl feathers will be a good totem for you to represent your personalities.
I have one back here on my wand.
Oh, you do?
Uh-huh.
That's cool.
This one,
I see it. Yeah, that's
one's
awesome.
an eagle feather also.
Oh, yeah, wow. That's really cool.
And Shanta Marie helped me make this wand.
Oh wow. What is that in the handle? What is it made of?
Um, I think it's like two popsicle sticks and like sort of faux leather fabric wrapped around it.
Okay. That is very cool.
Yeah, it's one of my cherished treasures because I already feel aware that I have owl and eagle medicine.
That's great. Yeah. You know the one of the characters that you have, the crocodile, is a very strong, wise, knowledgeable character. But within the Mayan calendar or the Sixth calendar, we consider to have 17 different chakras, 17 different magnetic fields. So you have one of those, the crocodiles, you have on the magnetic field of 13, which is really high in the scale of potency. You know, different potency on all the animals, but in this one, it caught my attention. They have it at 13th potency. So what that means in the spiritual world is you bring all this wisdom, this primordial wisdom, into the 3D world. So usually when you come into that, you embrace that part, the cosmic identity. Uh, People start seeing you. People start recognizing who you are, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually. So this is started in 2012 for you, 2013. This it's a good thing because it's highly emphasized during this year of 2020, where people give you more of what your spirit recognizes as giving credit for what you do and who you are, mentally, physically, and spiritually. So more recognition, basically, when it comes down to just 3D language. Not that you need it, but there is that element. More respect. People will see you more, will see your spirit more, and will give you the credit that you deserve. So that's this whole year, and once you get used to it, basically, you know, there's it's from now on, but you will probably see the difference between before and since 2012 on. You get more recognition, you get seen by more people. That's really actually a really good thing when people come into that space of being the crocodile that people shouldn't argue with too much or just follow their instructions. Then it's a good time for you, really, starting 2012 on, but specifically this year, since April. More recognition, people see you and feel you more. There is a creatress aspect of you. In the calendar, we call it the monkey. It's the artist, the writer, the singer, the dancer, the creatress in you. Highly emphasize this year. And I wanted to go back to the crocodile for a second, because when you combine it with your other sign, which is the fire, when it comes, if you ever come to that space where people don't really get what you're saying, people don't really understand you, either the language of the way you deliver your messages or your interactions might be too strong for people. So if that ever happens, I have a good sample here with me. I have a fire, even just a candle. The fire will always understand what you mean, and the fire will not argue with you. The fire will understand you best and better than anything else. Everything you do, everything you have done all your existence, until now and forever. You do it to unite the people. It's in the new world, we have 5 new archetypes: balance, unity, joy, peace, and harmony. And in your case, you represent the archetype of unity. So learning and teaching unity is really what you can do as service to humanity, is to unite the families, unite the towns, unite the people, unite the world. First in your projection and your mind, and then out into that community. That is your 6 sun calendar sign, if you have one, just like in the Gregorian calendar with your astrological sign. Then in the 6 sun calendar, your sign is unity. It's called unity. You have what we call the transformation, death, transformer, a bridge between the spiritual world and the human world. So usually people with that aspect, with that virtue, can be one who is a translator or transmitter, or a bridge between people who have passed on and the relatives left behind. So I forgot what they call those. Not a psychic, but a seer.
A medium.
Medium. There you go. So in between your two also had to give service to humanity, being a medium, and not just an average medium, but a very efficient medium. Is something that you can do for service to humanity, friends or family. And the reason why you will be more efficient than others will be because the mathematics tell you that you are unity in this new world. So adding that to the ability to be a medium between worlds, be a bridge between worlds, that makes you an efficient medium. Then you have what we call the master adapter. And to add to that mediumship, the skill, there's this other character called the black obsidian. That's another of your virtues to bring into the table. And in the Mayan world, we see the sign as being the exorcist. Not throwing holy water at people, but showing the spirit of an illness, whether it's mental, physical, or spiritual. You can bring that spirit into the portal of fire, because you also carry that. A representative of the sun here and Mother Earth, by carrying the fire as a tool to alleviate people's illnesses, mental, physical, and spiritual. I will say that if you one of these days decided to explore the possibility of just taking on those fully, you will be a very efficient, you are a very efficient medicine woman, healing people with mental illnesses. There's plenty of work coming up within, the next 30 years. Because of what we are doing right now, we're going through or transiting across the whole of the Milky Way. The spiritual world, the dream world, and the 3D world are collapsing into one. And a lot more people are receiving energies. A lot more people are seeing things that normally, if you grew up in a society like in North America, they're going to tell you that you're crazy. But people are not crazy. They're just, it's happening. So here's where someone like you can come in and just expand, helping people in that way, making them understand that when we see things, it's not our imagination. There's something very valuable in the unseen world, Then there is the master adapter within you. The master adapter, it literally means that you're going to adapt to anything that comes across in your lifetime. The master adapters have many different virtues. They can literally become any and all of the other astrological, cosmological signs people. And with that, the number one virtue that comes with being a master adapter is certainty. So one of the messages that I will say, if you remember anything of this session, is don't lose your certainty. Grab your certainty and run with it. Because it's when we lose our certainty, things can go in a spiral downward very quickly. It's really interesting how fast it can we can lose anything we gain. Yeah, as master adapters, we are to be in our certainty all the time. So I hope that that makes sense to you either now or in the future soon. You also have this combination of the authority and the lizard, where the lizard is someone who weaves dreams for humanity. Is someone who grants wishes with their thoughts. They're also able to break wishes with their thoughts, break people's dreams with their thoughts. So it's a very delicate balance that they have to walk in this new world, because their thoughts are exponentially powerful to manifest. And when you have the alliance of the lizard with the sacred prayer, which you have the thought, then it's like you can break a leg just by thinking it. So it's important that in a humble way, it's important to remember that your thoughts are extremely useful in a way to, for the highest good, you can think of the best of people. And more than anything, think the best of yourself, because that's really what's going to determine what you think of the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. The other thing about the lizard is they are collectors. So through space and time, you collect things, wisdom, knowledge, and anything else in between. But it can also collect energies that are not beneficial for your evolution. And also they can be like a ball and chain. So if you think of a lizard yourself carrying a backpack full of energies that you have collected in this lifetime, then in a reading like today, it's an opportunity for us to remember that it's okay and it's good to empty your backpack of those energies that you have been carrying, and just examine what's in your backpack, what's in your basket that you're carrying. And having the ability of the black obsidian you have within your possession, and within your possession you have the obsidian knife, which is very useful not only for spiritual surgeries, which is a skill that you can remember and develop and study, but also you can utilize that black obsidian to cut cords, to cut ties, spiritual contracts that might have been imposed on you by even on family, significant others, past ancestry. And you can use that same skill to help other people, liberating people from their bondage, liberating people from their mental thoughts that are keeping them from evolving. And then lastly, you have the dog. the dog is all about justice and loyalty. So it's like once you find your tribe, is I learned this phrase from this doctor. She says, when we come across people, we have the option to be together for a reason, for a season, or for a lifetime. So the dog in you will always prefer relationships for a lifetime, relations of integrity and justice and loyalty. So I hear a dog barking outside of my head. Yeah. And then finally, I want to say that when you have this transformation abilities, that the medium between bridges and bridges between worlds and belief system, spirituality, and 3D thinking. Sometimes you may be afraid of your own powers, of how big things that you can do. So I want to say that today is a really good day to put all of that. If there is any little bit of fear of embracing your own powers, today is a good day. I'm putting it all in the fire to get transmuted, so that you can start your shining path, smiling all the way. So that's all I have for you.
That was amazing. I mean, I just am like, I can't believe how relevant all of that feels to me. And I mean, I am a medium. I teach spiritual practices, and in particular, I teach people my number one person that I like to work with is someone who is having like energetic and spiritual things that they don't understand happening, and I help them build a foundation of understanding what that is so that they can have optimal wellness and use their gifts. So it seems like really relevant. And the mediumship thing, I do have a mediumship gift, and I work with mediums and I teach mediums, but it's something that I haven't fully, I don't think I've used as much as I will eventually. You know, I work with a variety of gifts, and I just haven't developed that one as much because I do spend a lot of my attention with helping people with their mental thinking, I feel like my number one calling is as a wisdom channel, and I help people sort of align with what's going on with their souls. So,
hey, you know, this would be a good tool for you, this mathematics, if you ever feel like exploring more into like how to utilize it, because this will give you like a navigational map of your the people you work with, how you could tap into what to do best for their involvement mentally and physically and spiritually. Yeah, it's really interesting that the mathematics stuff, because I really forgot the word medium, but that's really cool that it tap into that actually on what you actually do. That's really cool.
Yeah, and it's kind of the thing, like last night I was writing up one of my lessons about mediumship for one of my students, and I am a writer, and I was just very excited about the things that you talked about here. In particular, like one of the questions that's come up for me, because I'm very tapped in spiritually, and my guidance tells me that some things about mediumship and about spiritual energy that's a little different than what my teachers believe, and what I feel like past traditions have embraced ideas about evil energy and stuff like that. And I feel like my guidance is telling me that we're just misunderstanding it when we're seeing it that way. And so I want to be able, I'm still trying to articulate a way to help people understand it. And so when you talked about the black obsidian and the spiritual surgery, somehow that feels like a skill that I want to explore more.
Yes. I'll be here to be of assistance with that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also when you were talking about the fire, because I'm a fire sign in the, you know, other calendar, but I know that like I have so much fire energy as a person. I have like all of this passionate energy, but I am completely, I totally agree with you that unity is one of the biggest things that I'm here to do and help people create. And I really have to balance out my fire with that, because I could get really passionate, you know, and want to burn things down, but that's not going to help people become unified, you know? So, so I was really interested in what you were saying though, because I think I'm transitioning right now into a time of embracing my fire a little bit more. Because I feel like there's some things I want to speak out about. And so, so it's just interesting. I mean, I feel like this reading is just blowing my mind. I mean, just so many, I mean, it's completely 100% accurate about me. It couldn't, like, there was not one thing that I felt I didn't understand or didn't match who I am, like at a really core level.
Well, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
And
Yeah, and it is a lot of information also. A lot
yeah,
of information very, very fast. And a lot of confirmations. Not that you need them, but you know, they're good to come from a perfect stranger, you know. But also coming into a place of understanding that we all get the right messages at the right time, you know. So
mm-hmm.
I'm glad that you liked it. And yeah, actually, when I ask you a question, but just let me stop the recording for this as to be your reading.